Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to work with this collage element of this piece that we're going to make. So you got to pick one collage element, just one thing that you cut out of anything and place it somewhere in the composition. So first off, let me just show you. I actually do a lot of collages because I love collaging. Materials. These are vintage magazines. This one's at Better Homes and Gardens from 1979. I found this in my grandmother's attic. I have tons of these. I go through these, cut stuff out, make collages out of it. If you don't know where to get magazines, there's always some at the thrift store, for one thing. Look around your house. Ask your mom. Look at that nasty plate of spaghetti. Ugh. Anywho, see what you can do. See if you can find a magazine. Surely someone, usually it's older people have magazines, grandmas, aunts and uncles, stuff like that. But you're going to need to find something to cut a picture out of. I also collect old kids' books, and I cut things out of that. So maybe you got some book from when you were a child that you don't need anymore that you could cut up. At any rate, you need to find something. And let me talk to you a little bit about cutting, because honestly, I'm real picky about that. I've got a couple objects here that I'm thinking about that I've already cut out. I have 3 different ones. Got the wolf, the lady, and then I don't know what that is. What is this? I really like this. I don't know what it is, and I'm thinking about it. I think it got out of a mythology book. At any rate, I'm a perfectionist about cutting. I can't stand seeing something cut messy. So look at this. This is a, turkey. This junk right here, the yellow stuff, a lot of people would call this cut out. To me, that is not cut out, because it ruins the illusion that you're trying to create in the artwork, and also it ruins the connection and the wholeness or oneness, the unity, if you will, of this composition when you have this stuff. It's kind of like makes it more obvious that it's a cutout. So I get a very sharp, very small pair of scissors. A lot of people use X-Acto blades for this, and you could do that. But for me, I use this tiny, tiny pair of sewing scissors. Now, when you got something really skinny, though, like this little thing right here, you can't cut that out. That's not going to work. So the only thing you could really do when you got something like that is either cut it off and pretend like it doesn't exist, which is something you can do, or you can just cut really, really closely around it like this so that it doesn't fall off. Sometimes I do this part and then I go back and cut it off anyway because it's annoying. It kind of depends on whether you think it needs it or not. Like here, these olives, I don't know. To me, that's going to look dumb. So I'm just going to totally cut them off, even though there are other olives on the rest of it. Anyway, so yes, please, when you're cutting this out, please cut it very, very, very closely and carefully. Otherwise, it's just not going to look good, Get all that extra stuff off of there. Take your time on it. So I guess I have to decide, like, right now. I don't know. I think I am going to go with the lady, maybe. Easy peasy. Just glue it on with a glue stick, right? You can put it center, you can put it in the side, you can put it, upside down. Doesn't matter how you do it. Just go ahead and glue your image on there. And then next video, we're going to get started with creating the Zentangle around it. Okay, so I'm getting started on this. I picked out a doodle that I kind of wanted to start with. And then I basically created a space to put the doodle in. So I want you to think about, like, the composition, which means what you're putting where. Since I got a human face, there's a lot of focus there when you see a human face on a piece of paper, no matter what. So I'm going to basically make everything seemingly coming out of her head, because obviously her thoughts would be the focus there. Or maybe something she's witnessing. Seems to me there might be something she's looking at. And I'm just going to start with one section at a time. And I use my pencil to make this section so that I could adjust it. I made it thinner here and thicker up here to make it look like it was sort of growing. But I'm going to pick it up from here with only my Sharpie. And I found this one design I really like that kind of looks like epithelial skin cells. You know, those little cells, the layers that make up human skin. But it starts with a bunch of these lines. Now, it should be noted that whatever line you make here, you know, you're committing, right? I mean, you can't get rid of it no matter what. So if you're nervous about that, you can do it with pencil first and then trace over it. But you're going to find that, you know, if you do that for the whole thing, you're going to go insane. So, you know, sometimes I just go for it. And then when I make mistakes, I just sort of, I don't know, change it. Pretend like I meant to do that kind of thing. So here, the outside of this design has a bunch of really close fitting kind of shapes like this, ovular shapes, which to me remind me of the way that skin cells work, which is why I kind of liked it. It's like almost like a microscope image. So the rest of the design, I'm filling up with that. Now, I go really slowly, and I try to have a lot of tight control over my hand, which can sometimes give me a lot of fatigue in my hand, by the way, which I'm sure you guys will experience. So remember, when it starts to hurt, I actually, since I've been an artist for a long time, I have carpal tunnel syndrome from the repetitive motion. So you take your fingers and push them backwards, because that's what's happening. Is you're always cramping, you're always making your hand like this, and you need to give it some like opposite resistance to clear it up. Obviously, shaking your hands out also helps. So keep that in mind. You probably will if you do this for a lot of hours. You shouldn't be able to spend that much time on it, but if you do it for a long time, yeah, it'll make your hands hurt. So keep that in mind. Stop, take breaks, and whatnot. So I'm just going to keep working on this. You'll find that you can do this assignment while watching TV, because it's very mindless. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's actually very, very relaxing. So that's all I've got so far. I'm going to keep on working on this and check in with you when I have a lot more done. Okay, so I finished my final piece last night. And again, on one of the other videos, I believe I had said that, you know, you can literally do this while you're watching TV. I think every part of this project I did while watching TV. It's super relaxing and obsessive, so it actually kept me up late a few times. But I started right here with this section. I didn't outline that section with a Sharpie. I think probably I would recommend that you don't outline any of the sections necessarily. Like this was a pencil line right here, but I didn't run a black Sharpie outline around it. I think it kind of looks cooler for the patterns to just emerge from one another as opposed to having a boundary. But, you know, you guys will have to make that judgment. Things that were difficult. Oh, this is a classic right here. These little black circles. I initially was going to make this pattern over and over again, and I already messed it up. Like the second row, I made them not touching each other for some reason. And I made those little, these marks, I made them on the wrong side. So I just filled them all in black. And then I decided to do 2 more rows so that I could repeat that pattern and make it look intentional. So that's another thing to do. If you mess something up, you just have to totally replan and make it look like it was on purpose. You know, and then you also find blank spots that just feel like they need to be filled in. So I put dots and I put these. But anywho, I think I'm pretty proud of the way it turned out. I got really, really bogged down right here. This was super hard. Made a mistake there. Made a mistake there. I made a mistake up here on top. Those should be going the other way. So then I just went with it, hoping that it wouldn't be too recognizable because it was on the edge. So it's totally okay to make mistakes. Sometimes people won't even notice them. And sometimes you've just got to reinvent the whole thing you're doing to cover up the mistake. But anyway, it is a really kind of relaxing and obsessive project for people who like those kind of tasks, and I hope you have fun doing it. Okay, quick add-on, little extra that I realized I didn't explain. If you have any pencil lines, like I had some pencil lines right here, and if you remember my very first step, I actually made a pencil line right here. Definitely go in there and erase those before you're all finished. And one of the great things about Sharpie is that you can erase right over the Sharpie and it won't smudge any at all. I would also recommend that you use a separate eraser. Pink or white is fine, but you know, an eraser that's not on your pencil is always more effective. So anyway, sorry, I forgot to tell you that.